Day 3 started with breakfast at my hotel. I thought it was just okay. I always like trying hotel breakfast, even if it's just to say if it was worth it or not. This one sort of just depends. This is my first day taking the bus in Japan. I was anxious about it. For some reason, taking the bus anywhere just feels more nerve-wracking, but it ended up being a pretty easy trip. The announcements and stops were all in Japanese and English, so I just used Google Maps to keep track of my stop. A good thing to note was in Kyoto, you paid one standard fare when you got off, so everyone enters through the back door and leaves through the front. This isn't the same for all of Japan, so my advice is to just watch what everyone else is doing and copy them. I booked an Airbnb e-bike experience for this day. I knew if I left things too open, I might end up just lazing in my hotel room the entire trip, which wouldn't have been the end of the world, but I know I would have regretted it later. Kyoto has a bunch of options for bike tours. I chose this one purely because it uses e-bikes, so I could choose how easy of a ride I wanted that day, which was definitely needed. I was sort of dreading the tour. It was cold, like in the 40s that day. Luckily, I brought my bike gloves with me, which made it a lot more bearable temperature-wise.
Please give it again. I promise you the water is cold. It's not as cold as it is. I'm surprised. Yeah, right now.
You can come anyway, yeah?
So Kyoto is renowned for its very good water.
Oh.
Good tofu because of that, and good sake as well. Almost every single one of these plaques would have been written in February.
Oh, for exam season.
And you can see there's almost the same kanji written on all of them. This kanji here, it says Gokaku, which means to pass some kind of exam. Right. And actually, if you were in Kyoto yesterday, and you noticed a lot of people dressing up in kimonos,
Yeah.
actually, it was more than usual. It was the graduation day.
Oh,
There was a graduation ceremony, and that's why I said we could walk.
I did wonder that.
That's a funny one. Volleyball and studying.
Volleyball?
I want to do my best, but it's not really a wish. Right? Yeah, anyway. This is also an original gate to around 400 years ago as well.
All in all, I'm glad I booked the experience. Sean, our tour guide, was very knowledgeable about all the sites we visited. My group was super friendly and I felt extremely safe riding on the Kyoto streets. A lot of them are pretty narrow, but all the cars were respectful and gave right of way. I knew Kyoto and Japan as a whole had a large bike culture, so getting to experience it for myself just made me wish I lived in a place where that was appreciated more. All in all, this was a great way to see an array of shrines and temples around Kyoto while learning a lot of history behind them. I had seen a few the day before, but was sort of just admiring them without knowing much of their individual history. I think my favorite part of the tour was stopping by this mochi shop. It's currently run by the 25th generation of the same family and has been featured in a ton of news outlets. It was a cozy spot to enjoy snack and warm up in. It was definitely a place I would not have known about or gone to on my own.
This is the snack we're going to be trying. It's called aburi mochi, which translates to grilled mochi. So mochi is like a pounded sticky rice, and then they coat it in that brown powder, which is roasted soybean powder, and then it's grilled, and then it's coated in a really sweet white miso sauce. So it's quite a sweet snack. It's gluten-free. There's no nuts. I don't think there's much else. But is everyone? It's vegetarian.
Bye! Lucy, maybe. Google Maps and I became best friends on this trip. I was a bit worried about navigating in Japan, mostly because I'd heard a lot of complaints about it beforehand, and mostly about how it barely works when you're there. After navigating the streets and stations for 2 weeks, I can say that's a huge over-exaggeration. It works great. I think it's not as robust as it is in the US. For example, sometimes it doesn't auto-update as I walk, or when I'm down in a train station, but otherwise I would have been so lost without it. Obviously, I can't compare it to any other navigation app someone else might recommend, but it definitely works just fine. I'd say just pay attention to the details around you, like what side of the street to be on, or even if you need to turn on some small hidden alleyway you might not have otherwise noticed, and read the signs around you. A lot of them are in English and often ended up guiding me at my most lost moments. After the tour, Sean, my tour guide, recommended a local soba place. I was tempted to get the curry udon because that's something I know I like, but I figured I'd try something new because why not? I chose the Nishin soba purely because it's a Kyoto specialty, which I found out by Googling. I found out later that most soba places in Kyoto will have it on their menu, but this place just seemed special to me. It had like a homey feel to it, but maybe that's just me projecting. The soba was amazing, in my opinion. Definitely one of my favorite dishes. The broth was amazing. I'm using amazing too much, but it was amazing. Ended up adding the provided spice to it, mostly to add some heat versus adding flavor. And the noodles were perfectly cooked. The fish was too sweet for my liking, so it was the one thing I left behind. I found out later the dried herring is simmered in soy sauce, mirin, which is a sweet cooking rice wine, and sugar, so it makes sense that it was so sweet. I'm definitely going to try to make this at home someday though. Other things to note as you watch me eat, the seat that I got was a tatami mat style, so I took off my shoes and sat on a cushion on the tatami mat floor. They also had regular seats and tables if that's not your vibe, so you don't have to take off your shoes and sit over there if you don't want to. They have an English menu available, and everything they served was less than 1,100 yen, which is about $7 USD, so super affordable and filling. Like many smaller restaurants in Japan, they only accept cash, so keep that in mind before you sit down. Random interlude. I love the ease of public transportation in Japan. It's really the small details, like this bus tracker that lets you know when the buses are approaching, that make all the difference to me. So simple, so useful. I loved it. Anyway, cue the quick shopping montage of the day. I was really excited for this solo trip. After retirement, I've been able to take a few trips with friends, family, and my partner. I always had a great time, but after every trip, I always imagined ways I might have done things differently if I were alone. Maybe I'd stay longer or leave earlier at one place. Maybe I'd skip it all together and just rest longer. I'm the type of traveler that likes bigger activities, like seeing bigger tourist sites or going on a hike, but I also like to be well rested. Traveling alone means you don't have to compromise, which is what I think I really needed. In truth, I wanted to be selfish and do it in a way where I wouldn't feel bad about it. I think everyone deserves moments like these when you're making decisions purely on what you want versus what everyone else wants. I think traveling alone forced me to slow down and think about what I truly wanted. Every night, I would look over my plans for the next day, then I'd wake up and see how I felt about it. If I was still up for it, I'd go and give it a chance, and if I wasn't, I'd just do something else. If I wasn't in the middle of something and suddenly just wanted to leave, I left. If I wanted to stay longer, I stayed. In a perfect world, I'd be able to do that every day. In reality, I will still try to take that feeling and that lesson back with me, even if it's just for 1 or 2 days of the week. I ended my day with an easy solo meal at the closest McDonald's. Side note, I did try to go to 2 other places, but they were both full and I was lazy. Personally, I like to try the fast food in different countries anyway. They often taste different and have different menu items, so it's a fun thing to try. It felt like a great end to a fun day to me. I said fun many times there, but that was it. Thanks for watching. Look out for the next one.